It's about that time of day again, your boys and girls. Welcome back to your nightly newsletter. My name is Joseph James for your nightly newsletter for Monday, October 6th, 2014. Hope you guys had a great weekend. Boy, I'll tell you, this time of year is always a great time of the year, right? Month of October, what a great month of the year. You get the leaves changing around the world. Weather was beautiful here in Los Angeles. Hope you guys had a chance, though, to rest up. We get a big week in front of us here. What happened today? Well, before we talk about what happened today and get you guys those strategies for tomorrow, I want to remind you guys, make sure you're watching this video right now over on our blog at sidewaysmarkets.com. If you're watching this video on our YouTube page or some other place besides our blog, make sure you follow the link below the video and get over here to sidewaysmarkets.com. There's 3 specific things that I want your help with here this evening before we jump into this. First thing, below the video this afternoon, you can download all of my charts. Right below today's video, you can download all of the charts that I'm going to use today and have those ready for us tomorrow when you come in and join me in my live trade room, right? So first things first, make sure you download those charts. Second thing here, maybe you're wondering, what does it feel like to be a student? What does it feel like to be a member of our trade room? How do we use these newsletter levels every evening? Are these just picked out of the sky? Well, I would love to show you how we find all these and how we use all these. I get a special free pass. If you are not a member of School of Trade and you would like to see what it feels like to be inside of our trade room, I would love to offer you guys a free pass. Definitely take me up on that offer. And of course, the third thing here, lower left-hand corner, right above my ugly mug, you're going to see a spot for your name and your email address. That is a way that you can register for my nightly newsletter mailing list, right? That's right. Every evening before 8 p.m. Eastern Time, I'd like to send you an email so that you don't have to worry about missing the next newsletter. So 3 things on our blog. First things first, download the charts for today. Have those ready with you tomorrow in my trade room. Second thing here, upper left-hand corner, grab your free pass. And third, but certainly not least, don't forget to register for our nightly newsletter mailing list. If you register for the mailing list or if you sign up for your free pass, don't forget to check your email. I'm going to send you a verification email to make sure that you are not a robot. All right? I think we're ready to rock and roll here. Got my helmet on, got my seatbelt fastened, got my cup of organic green tea, a little bit of stevia and some chia seeds, rocket fuel. Let's jump right in. First of all, what the heck happened today? Well, today, the second week of the month, the first day of the week, Monday following non-farm payrolls, we call this Reaction Monday, right? This is the Monday after non-farm payrolls. Now, we have a couple of these Mondays that are like this, right? This one would be the second Monday of the month, right? Or the Monday following the first Friday of the month. That was this morning. We also have a Monday such as OPEX, right, which is the third Friday of every 1 month. The Monday after that is called Rebalancing Monday. That's also an important Monday, right, to be aware of. And then one more thing, the first Monday of each month, which was also today, right? There are some pretty darn important Mondays that are out there, right? I'll bet you all thought that Mondays were the worst day of the week. No, it can be the best day of the week, especially if you love your job like we do here at School of Trade. So markets were reacting today to last Friday's big non-farm payroll number. As we expected, the number came out much higher, but a lot of traders out there saw some immediate problems with that number because the top number was great, but the underlying numbers weren't exactly as shiny. And we used the term this morning, all that glitters is not gold, right? We had kind of a gold number, but you crack open the surface and we saw that there wasn't exactly much of continuation of that bullish sentiment, right, in that number. So a lot of what we saw was good news on Friday, but I think the markets are still trying to digest and see what's going to happen. And we definitely saw that today. Right out the gate, price action was a little bit herky-jerky. We tried to sell off the highs on gold. It kept on jumping. We wound up getting out right at point of entry on gold this morning. We're just waiting for, well, put it this way, we might be in store for a Reaction Tuesday, right? Because it did feel like traders today were kind of going, well, let's see how everybody else reacts because I think most people saw exactly what I saw, and they saw that really just kind of that lackluster number, right, from last week. So markets reacting today. Crude oil pushes lower. Gold actually jumped back up, back above 1200, and the mini Russell pushed lower. Now we're going to take a look at all these. All of these markets, with the exception of crude oil right now, looks like easy pickings to the downside right now. So let's jump right in, right? Pretty much everything here except for the crude. I'll show you what I'm talking about. All right, let's jump in here to the Russell. First things first, on the Russell, I've got 3 steps to success. What are they? Trend, setup, entry pattern. What's my trend on this one? Trend is down. How do I know? Lower lows, lower highs, red clouds. Next step, where's my setup going to be? Now, as you can see here, we've already collapsed all the way back to that May 15th low that we talked about a few weeks ago. That's right. This level has been on there for over a few weeks, so this is nothing new. We've been expecting this price to get down to this 1075 area, and we've had it listed here as a target for quite some time. Furthermore, we also can see here that we've made new lower lows, and we've bounced back off those lows, which are now giving us an excellent area to be a seller here right now. A couple things you want to be aware of right now. If you're a long-term trader, you're better off waiting for 1127.7, 1140.8, and possibly all the way back up to this 1159, 1170 area. Long-term sellers on the Russell right now, stay patient, because you can see I've got my sell setups waiting for us overhead. We also draw a trend line off these highs, and that would be another potential sell for a longer-term trader on the Russell right now. All right? As you can see, I've illustrated a possible zigzag there for you. Just be careful around that big round number of 1100. That's always going to be a bit of a sticking point here. But on this particular chart for the Russell, it definitely looks like we need to stay patient right now and get this price a little bit higher before we're going to get the easy money to sell it short. I'm not good on patience, right? Let's see what else we've got here, and let's go down to a slightly faster time frame. We take our 64, cut that in half. Here's my 32. This 32 is perfect for all you intraday traders who don't want to be trading more than 3 or 4 times a week, right? So this would be a time when you're going to get on the 32, you're going to get nice, easy sell setups, right? I would say, again, let's say 3 to 5 times a week, right? Just to kind of guess off the top of my head. Might be more, might be less. It's not a swing trader's time frame, but it's definitely not a scalper's time frame. What do you see right now? Well, I got my 3 steps to success, right? Makes it easy. What's my trend? My trend is down. How do I know? I got lower lows, lower highs, and both clouds are red, and we're below all the moving averages. Where's my setup going to be next, right? Because the trend tells me what direction I want to be trading in. The setup now tells me, hey, Joe, in that direction, this is when you should be looking for a trading opportunity, right? So my setup comes in, and you can see here, we just triggered that sell setup coming out of 98.4, right? It's also, by the way, as you can see, at the top of that long-term bear channel, right? Just the best place to be selling short. Now, a little bird told me last week that they were probably going to push this price higher, right into an area where we could then sell short. I think that bird's name was JJ last week. If you recall, go back to last Thursday's newsletter, we talked about the fact that the news coming out on Friday was likely going to be read as bullish, and that would push the price up to the high of that range. My exact words were, that's going to give us just enough room here to get some nice selling going on. If you're a student of mine in my trade room, we finished up today. My exact words were, you have everything you need right now to be getting short here on this Russell. Coming off the highs of the range, right? Off those lows, we have everything we need right now. What's the third step, Joe? The third step is going to be the entry trigger. Trend is down. Setups have triggered. Where's my entry trigger? That's where you got to be a student of mine and use any of the entry patterns that we teach you guys here. Now it's time to get in. As you can see, I've got targets waiting for us down bottom. 79.4, 69.4, and 53.7. Don't forget, you can download all of these charts at your leisure right below the video tonight. Last but not least, here's my scalpers time frame, right? Here's my scalpers anchor chart. What's my trend? Where's my setup? Where's my entry? What's my trend here, boys and girls? What's my trend? Trend is down. How do I know? Lower lows, lower highs, red clouds, below all the moving averages. Easy as falling off a horse. What is my setup? Where's my next setup going to be? Well, again, we already got the setup there around that 1098, 1099 area. If you missed that short from earlier on this morning, members, we talked about this in the trade room, right? Ready for that short this afternoon. My exact words this afternoon was, or this morning was, this afternoon, you better be ready for that short, right? So you got that short coming off that high. Now, if you missed it, you've got sell zones here waiting for you. I've got 92.6 and 95.7. If you missed that short off the high that I talked about earlier this morning, you've got that lower low, and now we're going to look for that price to retrace into our sell zones so we can smack it right back down. Now, one clue here, one clue. You'll notice we are right at that low. If we go lower, we're looking great. But if we reverse right now, all right, if we reverse right now, that means the 92.6 is lower percentage, the 95.7 is the higher percentage. Members, it's because it becomes a wedge. Think about that for a second, and you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. Targets here to the downside on the Russell. Don't forget, we got this channel here, so I definitely want to take some profit at that low if I can get down there. I've got targets at 79.8. I've got targets at 74.8 and 72.9. Don't forget, that's your range low, right? That's 72.9. So we're looking to go right back to where we came from here. And again, this is exactly the scenario that I described on Thursday afternoon, right? Literally, you couldn't have scripted this if I was down a few miles north up in Hollywood. All right, let's keep going. How about that mighty, we'll go from the gold, from the Russell here to that funny yellow metal. Here's my gold futures. How about that gold? Boy, like a hot knife right through butter through that 1200 big round number. I'm sorry, I figured there was going to be a lot more of a fight that would break out over that 1200. News comes out, very bullish on Friday, pushes that gold lower. There shouldn't be any surprise there why it pushed the gold lower, right? Because it was read as being a very bullish report, right? And so traders obviously now have pushed this price lower because of the flight to safety, not necessary right now because all things appear to be all peach keen, right? So we gave you a target down here. We had that swing level down at, what do we got here, 85 or so here, all the way down on gold. So we had that swing level right below that 1200. This target's been sitting here literally for 6 months. I mean, we've been waiting for this to get here off these highs. I've been talking about this like a broken record. So we had 1200 pegged months ago, right? This is nothing new for us right now. So now you can see gold here well oversold. What's my trend? What's my trend? Trend is down. How do I know? Red clouds, right? Lower lows, lower highs. Where would my next sell setup be? Because that's when I want to make sure I be taking those trades, right? I want to follow that trend. I want to sell short, but where would my sell setup be? Well, I got a couple of them here. I got a reversal line at 38.9. And then, of course, we've got trigger zones, 66.1. I have symmetry at 92. I don't think we're going to need much more than that, right? I can't imagine we go up to 1,300 here tomorrow. But again, long-term traders, this is your chart. I've got a great sell here for a long-term trader around 38.9, 85.6, 66.1. I don't know if we're going to have to wait that long, though. I don't think we got to wait that long. Let's keep going lower here. Let's go from that 64 down to my 32. Now that you know that we're all oversold like this, wait just a second, guys. Wait just a second. Here we go. Now we have a chart we can work with. What's my trend? What's my trend? Trend is down. How do I know? Lower lows, lower highs, red clouds. I got one green cloud. Just turned to green. We're not going to worry about that too much. The long-term clouds, all I care about. That works there. Where's my next setup? I got my trend. My trend tells me direction. What does the setup tell me? The setup tells me when I should be looking to take a trade. Do I have a setup here right now? Oh, yes, we do. Yes, we do. There's actually a sell setup right below it, right? Members, you probably already found it, right? But there's actually a sell setup just below it, but I've removed it since it was broken. And then we've got symmetry at 1210, trigger zone at 10.2, trigger zone at 15.3, double top here at 24 even, trigger zone at 25.5, double top up here at 32.7. You get the picture, right? So all of these levels overhead, green light here right now. That is not a trigger line setup, but it's pretty darn close. It's pretty darn close. It's just we didn't get across yet on that 200. All right, members, check out your trigger line setups and you'll know what I'm talking about. You'll notice we've gone right above that low, so no reversal line setup. We're looking good. We are really looking good right now to get short here on the gold. I wouldn't be surprised if it goes a little bit higher, right, before it comes lower. But we're looking right now, though, we're looking good here for selling opportunities here on gold right now. We were looking for those selling opportunities all morning, and it kept on kind of grinding higher here. So we had to stay patient. On the way lower, where's my targets going to be here, guys? I got 1,200. That's an easy target. I've got 96.6. I've got the 89 even. We have the 83.3, and of course, we can't forget about, right, the low of that channel. So as we come lower, target here, 1,200, target 96.6, target 89, target 83, low of the channel, and 68.9. If you see it as support below you, it's a target. This is a great chart for a medium-term trader, right? Somebody who wants 3 to 5 trades every day. What about somebody who's a scalper? What about somebody who's got a small account, wants to be, right, in and out here? Yep. This is the chart that tells me we might still want to go higher here. We may still be in the ballpark here to go a little bit higher before we go lower, but I'm looking for shorts right now on the gold. What's my trend right now on this chart? See, this one's a little bit tough. You can see, again, got this long-term channel. Oh, sorry about that. That's not what I was looking for. But you can see, though, we have this long-term channel, right? And this long-term channel, don't forget, you can always download today's charts, and you can see exactly where I find that channel. This is that sell zone I was talking about earlier, right? We kind of broke above that sell zone. So, again, you've got the sell zone off the 32, which puts you right about there. On my 16, though, we'll go a little bit higher. I've got trigger zone 13.8, 15.3, 22.1, double top at 24, double top at 32.7. As I go higher, if we don't want to collapse here as we are right now, again, looking for a short. Right now, all I need is what? What's my trend? Trend is down. What's my setup, right? The next setup here is going to be up around that 13.8. Next time, all I need is an entry pattern here to get short on gold. We are looking bearish across the board here, although we did get some bulls on the tape today. It pretty much put us exactly where we wanted to be here on that funny yellow metal. How about that crude? Well, I'm not that excited about crude, guys. I'm sorry. Crude oil has a little bit of a challenge going on right now. I think the crude traders here are just a little confused as far as what direction they want to go in the short term. We can definitely see the long term here. Let's go over it. First of all, I can see here that we have a January 9th, 2014. Now, again, I've been talking about this literally since we started to make this big collapse. My exact words were, would we end up January 9th, 2015 back at this 84? Guys, I've been talking about it for, 6 months? I mean, literally, I think I've been talking about this 85 area here for way, way too long. It's about time for us to get back down there. My opinions aside, the market tells me what? We get a long-term downtrend, lower lows, lower highs, red clouds. We're below all the moving averages. I've got this easy-to-find channel. I want to keep selling the highs, taking my profit at the lows. The same thing we've done all year on this crude is exactly what we're going to continue doing right now, right? As I always remind us, ride that horse that got you here. And right now, we've made a killing on this crude on the way down for the past 90 days. We're going to keep this party going. So, as we see here right now, trend is down. Where would my setup be right now? Well, my next setup here is going to be up at 94.90. But I want to zoom in on this area right here, right? Because we got a little bit of a wedge going on right now. I'm going to fill in the blanks here for those sell zones overhead. As we go lower, I've got targets here at 86.78, 84.64, and 80.87. But let's give you guys a little bit more accurate description of this. Now, remember this chart? Everybody remember this chart? Remember this chart from last week? Last week, this chart looked like this, right? We had that range-bound market. And then, of course, what happened was we made that lower low, right? And remember that lower low? Remember what I said? We made that lower low. Make sure we don't get where? Make sure we don't stay where? Make sure we don't get back above that low. Make sure we don't get back into that area. Yeah. There it goes. Right back in, and it can't get out, right? It's having a really difficult time here right now, pulling the trigger and dropping off this low. This is a very typical scenario for a market that doesn't quite know where it wants to go just yet. Now, whatever my opinion is, doesn't matter. What's my trend right now? Trend is down. How do I know? I've got red clouds. But I'm gonna call this a neutral bearish trend. Why? It all has to do with the fact that we didn't get that low last Friday, right? Was that last Friday? Was this today? I think that was last Friday. Yeah, that was last Friday. No, that was today. Excuse me. Boy, busy day. So we got that. Oh, that's right. I remember. We had this range this morning we spent most of the time in. Wasn't that right? So we spent most of the morning inside that little green rectangle. We dropped out of that rectangle, right, out of that range on real low volume. And that was what we used this morning to really kind of identify the fact that we weren't going to be trending anytime soon. So a little bit of volume analysis this morning really picked up on the fact that this move lower was on very low volume. And when that happens, we see the volume pick up when it goes higher. Yeah, that tells me there's nobody committing to the downside just yet here on the crude. So we're probably not going to be able to get a lower low here. Obviously, I would love to get a new lower low. What we need is we got to get below that 88.18, right? We've got to get below that 88.18. That way we shake out all the weekends and give us some new sell zones that we can take this thing to the downside with. So what am I going to do with this thing, right? Well, again, what's my trend right now? My trend is bearish. I can see we're red, right? I can see we're going lower here. And, of course, the long-term trend is definitely bearish. But my big challenge right now, though, is that we didn't get that recent low. So what I call this neutral bearish. We've been like this for a while on crude. The past couple of weeks have been like this on crude, right? Where we had, for example, last week we went up to the high and sold the high, right? So we're going sideways, we're consolidating, but we're still bearish. So I'm still going to err on the side of caution here. I'm still going to sell. So I'm still on the sell side right now on crude. But here's the deal, though. Members, I want you to remember the key clue here is that higher low. You should be thinking wedge right now, right? You should be thinking triangle. You should be thinking a specific number that you're going to use for your profit targets. If you don't know what I'm talking about, make sure you ask me first thing tomorrow morning and I'll point it out. So I'm looking to sell short. Where will I be selling short? Well, definitely looking for a short, 91.14, 91.44, 91.54 to 92.33 up at those highs. Don't forget, guys, a double top at 91.79, right? That's that prior high. That'll definitely be a level you want to look to sell. Another double top set up over here at 92.96. Another easy one for you. I have a wedge. You could call it a trigger zone right now because we did get that lower low up there at 94.13. So I'm sticking to the downside right now, but I got to stay patient to get short at the highs. Do not be selling these lows, all right? Not until we see some proof. 91.14, I've got my wedge set up. 91.79, double top. 92.33, trigger zone, right? We already hit that 91.54 once already. 92.96 is my double top, 93.46. As we push higher, I'm looking for selling opportunities, right? Look at what happened in the past on crude. Don't even tell me that's not a good strategy, right? We've been making a killing on this thing over the past few months doing exactly that. Biggest thing right now on crude is when you get short here, remember, I would normally be looking to grab a runner, but because we didn't see that lower low here earlier today, that again tells me I've got targets, 88.95, 88.18. Those are my two number one targets. We will, if we go higher, we will have a kind of a target update here for us, right? It'll be a little bit higher than that 88.95, so just be aware. If we go higher here, I will update that tomorrow morning in our live trade room here on the crude. And then last but not least, we have our 16 on crude, and there's really not a lot more here to talk about. As you can see, a lot of this is the exact same thing we just saw in the 32. This will give you a little bit better chart, though, to use. I've got sells at 14s. I've got sell, again, double top at 91.75. I've got a trigger zone here, 92.33, double top at 92.96. I've got the 93.46, double top at 94.90. So again, as we go higher here, and then although I do have a trend line overhead, I'm usually not somebody who just uses trend lines for these reversals, but you will see a possible reversal off that trend line. I would stay patient though, wait for it to get up into those sell zones, right, and sell it back down. All right, guys, and then don't forget, use those targets off the 32 that I just gave you if we do make new lower lows here below the 88.18. All right, guys, fantastic day today. Little bit sluggish, right, because it felt like, again, like I said earlier, it felt like traders saw those cracks in the sidewalk a little bit here today. It just kind of felt like those traders were waiting to see what the market wanted to do. So I would not be surprised if we have a reaction Tuesday tomorrow, right, instead of a reaction Monday. Let's take a look here. Talking about news for Tuesday, October 7th. What do we have in store here? First of all, tonight, 11:30 p.m. Eastern Time, we get the Royal Bank of Australia with their rate announcement. We have three different big rate announcements this week. We've got, I think it's Australia. I'll have to double check on it, but we get a lot of global news this week. It's a little bit of a quiet week. Second week of the month is usually a little bit quiet here in the U.S., but they're going to make up for it here. I've got news tonight, 11:30 p.m., and then tomorrow morning we go into Germany at 2 o'clock. The Swiss at 3:15. And I've got industrial production at 4:30 in Great Britain. We've got a bunch of news tomorrow morning, guys. One of those is Red Star at 3:15 a.m., which just happens to be the London opening bell, right? Wink, wink, nod, nod. Be ready for that tomorrow morning if you're on the right side of gamut. Move forward here with the U.S. session. We don't have a lot tomorrow in the U.S. 7:45 a.m. to get the Goldman Sachs same-store sales. 8:30 we get the Gallup poll. Red Book at 8:55, blah, 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 blah. And then finally, we got my gal, Janet Yellen, right? This is her news report. And we saw today they upgraded that news report finally. This news report, the JOLTS report, the job openings and layoffs, right? This is Janet Yellen's favorite news number. I think it's mine too, right? Janet Yellen's my gal, right? So I'll, of course, be looking forward to JOLTS report tomorrow. It always reminds me of that soda pop. Remember back in the day? I think it's like illegal now, right? That Jolt Cola. Right? It just reminds me of that. Every time I say the word JOLTS report, I think of that. Remember that soda can? It was like 90% sugar, right? You'd literally be on a sugar high for like 3 days, and then it basically took like 96 hours off your life. I'm pretty sure it's illegal now. Probably find it in Mexico, I'm sure. But Jolt Cola, yeah, stay away. Keep it away from the kids. 10 o'clock tomorrow morning, JOLTS report, and then we got big news out of China tomorrow. We got manufacturing out of China tomorrow night. So a lot of big news on the calendar starting tonight, tomorrow in Europe. And then remember, if you're trading with me tomorrow in the U.S. session, we're going to probably have to stay patient until we get to that 10 o'clock news for the best opportunities. We got a lot more news to talk about the rest of the week, but we won't waste our time on that right now. In the meantime here, I want to thank you so much for being a part of this newsletter here this evening, boys and girls. Head on over to SchoolOfTrade.com, join our free trial. I get a free trial here at SchoolOfTrade.com with a special invitation to come out and join our live trade room. I have 3 levels of membership: beginner, intermediate, and advanced. It's very easy to learn more about that. And I've got someone standing by here 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. I keep them locked up in that cage so that you always have somebody standing by on live support if you need any help. Don't forget, download those charts. Don't forget, register for our newsletter, and come out and see me tomorrow in our trade room. All right, guys? We'll open up at 8 a.m. Eastern Time tomorrow morning. SchoolOfTrade.com, SidewaysMarkets.com. Want to thank you so much for being a part of this trade room or this newsletter this evening. Now, be a good friend and share this information with a friend, and come out and see me tomorrow again. Same bat time, same bat channel, boys and girls. You guys have a great day on Tuesday. Follow that plan, and you know where to reach me. Adios, amigos. Bye-bye for now.